As we have reached the halfway point in the NBA regular season, I want to talk about the most surprising teams I have seen so far. And two of them stand out the most. And it's the Phoenix Suns and the Boston Celtics. I want to first talk about the Phoenix Suns. I watched them against the New York Knicks, and I noticed the intensity of defense they play with. You've got Dylan Brooks, who at this point, in my opinion, is a culture shifter when it comes to winning basketball. He goes to Houston, they become a top four seed in the Western Conference. He's now in Phoenix, and yeah, they're seventh in the Western Conference, but who saw that at this stage of the NBA season? Because I didn't see any of this happening with the Suns, but he has made an impact there. And they're a 24-6 team. You look at their defensive rating, they're fifth in the NBA. That's impressive. You look at their net rating, they're ninth in the NBA. They've got guys like Colin Gillespie, who's been really solid for them. Jalen Green has only played 2 games this year. So imagine what kind of impact he can make with his ball handling, with his athleticism. And if he can knock down shots on a consistent basis, now you have him and Devin Booker. That could be a nice little tandem. Grayson Allen's a nice little veteran. Ryan Dunn's a solid perimeter defender. He's only 23 years old. And then you have Mark Williams, who's been really good at stabilizing front court position. He's 24 years old. And up and down this roster going, how are they winning these basketball games? They're doing it on the defensive side of the ball, and they're competing night in and night out. And going forward, if they can just be competitive and in the playoff hunt, now you look at the Suns going, okay, how can we upgrade this roster and add some more scoring next to Booker, Jalen Green, and Dylan Brooks and these other guys? And maybe they get another big in the future. But what I love the most about the Suns is they're just competing out there. And here's the scary part. Devin Booker this year, he's averaging 25 points, but he's only shooting 30% from three. He's not shooting well from the three-point line. 45% from the field, which is pretty good. But Dylan Brooks, 45% from the field, 35% from three. Jalen Green, he's only played a couple of games, but 47% from field. So we don't want to look into that too much. But if he shoots at that rate, and at 43% from three, man, he's going to be really good in Phoenix. You look at the other guys up and down the roster. There's a lot of contributions here. Gillespie is averaging 13 points. Grayson Allen, 15 points. You've got Mark Williams at 12 points a night, 8 rebounds. Royce O'Neal, 10 points. Jordan Goodwin, 9 points a night. Ryan Dunn, 7 points. He's more of their perimeter defender. But you just look at the roster, you go, the Suns are feisty. They're a pain to deal with. And if this group experiences the playoffs and they can add a piece or two next year, all of a sudden they could be at the top of the Western Conference. Like, how did this all happen? Because they've got the right ideas in place. Jordan Ott has been fantastic. He deserves some votes for Coach of the Year this season. And then you look at the Boston Celtics, where they're third in the Eastern Conference at 24-15. It's funny how both teams have a similar record, and they're third in the Eastern Conference. And you didn't see that coming. You look at the roster come into regular season, you brought in guys like Josh Minott, you've got Hugo Gonzalez, Luka Garza, Anthony Simons, who is a good scorer, really solid out there. And your big man position is Tillman. You've got, again, Luka Garza. You got Neemias Queta. And you're not too thrilled about the depth of this team because you had to move off Porzingis and Holiday. Horford walked and Cornette walked in free agency. Didn't get a lot back. So you're thinking, okay, it's going to be a gap year with Jason Tatum on the sideline, probably going to miss the entire year. But there's reports he's trying to return in February or March. So going down the stretch of the season, it's going to be very interesting to see how the Celtics play this one out, because if they're at the top of the Eastern Conference and they decide to make a trade for a big man and they can find some type of point of attack defender, maybe in the buyout market, or even if they can't add one, if Jordan Walsh can get a bigger role and get those minutes back, they might be really hard to deal with in the playoffs. But it's just surprising because I was looking at the Celtics offensive rating. They're second in the NBA. I didn't expect that at all. Defensive rating, not as good at 15th because, like I said, they need some perimeter defense, in my opinion. But net rating, they're third in the NBA. So both teams have surprised me a lot, and I'm impressed with both of them because they came this regular season and you thought, okay, both of them are going to go through a long, long season. I thought as a Celtics fan, 0-3, the way they started, man, it's going to be rough out there. But you see contributions from guys like Jordan Walsh. Sam Hauser has been really good as a knockdown shooter, as usual. Luka Garza has looked serviceable. He's, made some three-point shots. I think he's shooting, if I'm not mistaken, 50%. Let me see. 51% from three. That's solid. And as a team, they still shoot 36.8% from three. And then you look at Jaylen Brown. He deserves to be an All-NBA player this year. I think he should be first team. There's no doubt about it, because you look at guys like Jokic is probably not going to meet the requirement, and you got Victor Wembanyama. He's probably not going to meet the game requirements because I think Victor has missed 14 games. I don't think he'll make the 65-game mark. With all that being said, the door is going to be open for guys like Jaylen Brown. And I think he deserves to be an all-NBA first-team player. He's been phenomenal, showing that he can be a number one option on a franchise. You look at other guys like Payne Pritchard's been solid. I know Derek White has not been shooting well from the field, but when you go from a fourth option to a second option, his attempts are higher this year, and he's given a bigger role. You might struggle in that situation. I'm not giving up on Derek White. I think he'll be just fine once Tatum returns, and he can go back to that third or fourth option. He'll thrive in that situation. But overall, can't say enough about the coaching job of Joe Mazzulla. He also deserves some love for Coach of the Year. I'm just really impressed with the Celtics and the Phoenix Suns. The Pistons, when I looked at them, I thought they could be a top seed in the Eastern Conference just because they showed a lot of promise in the playoffs where they battled with the New York Knicks, and I thought they would only get better. So to me, they're not surprising, but they're impressive, if that makes sense. So I think JB Bickerstaff for the Pistons does deserve Coach of the Year, in my personal opinion, because you're the number one Eastern Conference. You're looking like a juggernaut. So to me, I think he's going to end up winning Coach of the Year. But I just want to show love to the Suns and Celtics because right now, I know as a Celtics fan, I'm more than thrilled with this season, no matter what happens going forward. I know they've had some tough losses recently against the Spurs and against the Pacers the other night, but Jaylen Brown didn't play. But they're still competing. And the Suns tonight, I was watching the last 6 minutes of the game against the Heat. Miami just made some unbelievable shots, but the Suns were battling. Grayson Allen just missed a really good look at the three. You could say it was pretty long, but it bounced out, and Dylan Brooks got the ball and airballed it. But again, they're fighting and competing, and that's what you want to see from your franchise as they look to retool and build around their superstar players. And again, if Devin Booker starts shooting well from three, it's like, man, the Suns could be very scary. And if Jalen Green can show some production out there and him and Booker fit well together, it's like, man, the Suns could be very sneaky this year, or even going to next season, they can add a couple more pieces. Because remember, in the NBA right now, you need depth. You don't need a big three anymore. It's been proven, with the Celtics, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they had great role players, OKC, SGA. You can say Chet was in Jalen Williams, but it's not the same as you saw from like the big three, the Heat, or the big four from the Warriors. You can have two guys that are really good and build a really good roster around those two guys. So for the Suns and Celtics, just keep playing good basketball and go out there and compete. I'm just impressed. The Suns do a great job of, ball pressure and hustling and just being a pain to deal with night in and night out. And the Celtics as well, they just know how to stay in games. They run their sets. And again, you look at guys like Hauser, Jaylen Brown, Payton Pritchard, and Derek White. They have been in Joe Mazzulla's system for 3 seasons. Well, 3 seasons. So they have experience of playing in that system. Now they begin to maximize their opportunities with Joe Mazzulla's offense. And that's scary, especially when Tatum comes back. I'm really intrigued by the Celtics. And hopefully by next year, they can be title contenders. Maybe it's too soon because it's going to take some time for Tatum to ramp up, feel comfortable on an Achilles. So the expectations for Tatum is take your time. And Celtics fans, manage those expectations. It could take 2 seasons before we see them win the championship again because you got to retool, and also Tatum has to be fully healthy. And an Achilles injury, that could take a little bit of time, but we shall see. And with the Suns, they're intriguing. They're fun to watch. And as a Suns fan, you just got to be happy with the way they're playing and competing. Who knows what they can do next? Hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on the most surprising teams in the NBA. What are your teams right now? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.